All right, today we're diving into something wild. We're counting down the planet's most destructive animal invaders. Now, these are creatures that got moved to new homes, sometimes on purpose, sometimes totally by accident, and just unleashed absolute chaos. So, let's get right into it. So, when I say destructive animal invader, what pops into your head? A big, scary predator, right? Or maybe some kind of swarming insect? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is probably not what you think. We're going to find out as we count down from number 8. Okay, but first let's just get on the same page. What is an invasive species? Think of it like this. It's an outsider that moves into a new neighborhood and just starts wrecking the place. It outcompetes the locals, takes over, and messes up the whole environment. Pretty simple, right? All right, with that in mind, let's get to our list. We're going to start with some major pests and work our way up to the real heavy hitters, the ones that can mess up entire continents. All right, kicking things off at number 8, we have the silver carp. I'm sure you've seen those crazy videos online, right? These fish just launching themselves out of the water like missiles, sometimes smacking right into boaters. It looks hilarious, I know, but the reality behind it is not funny at all. So how did this happen? Well, it's a classic tale of good intentions gone horribly wrong. They were actually brought over from Asia to clean algae out of private ponds. Seemed like a good idea. But then floods hit, they escaped, and got into the Mississippi River system. Now, they're basically these unstoppable eating machines, just hoovering up the food web and starving all the native fish. Okay, coming in at number 7 is an amphibian that is a straight-up legendary ecological disaster, especially down in Australia. I'm talking about the infamous cane toad. You want to talk about a plan backfiring? This is it. The plan was so simple. They wanted to control some pesky cane beetles in the sugar crops. So they released some toads to eat them. But the reality? Oh, it was a disaster. The toads completely ignored the beetles. Instead, they ate literally everything else. And those 100 or so toads they released? Yeah, there are now an estimated 200 million of them roaming Australia. Just mind-boggling. But you know, their deadliest feature is their poison. See, native predators, we're talking crocodiles, snakes, you name it, they try to eat these toads and they just die. The toads secrete this powerful toxin from glands on their backs, and it's completely upended the entire food chain. All right, at number 6, we've got an animal that looks all cute and fuzzy, but don't let that fool you. This creature has waged one of the most brutal, drawn-out ecological wars in modern history. Yep, we're talking about rabbits. The story of rabbits in Australia is it's a full-on war. It all started in 1859 with just 24 rabbits released for a bit of sport hunting. Well, their population exploded. So Australia fought back with biological warfare, releasing a deadly virus. It worked for a bit. But then the rabbits developed resistance, so they released another, even deadlier virus. And guess what? The rabbits developed immunity to that too. They just keep adapting and bouncing back. It's unbelievable. So after all that, after literal biological warfare, what's the result? This. More than 200 million rabbits still running wild across Australia, eating the landscape bare and causing whole ecosystems to collapse. This fight is nowhere near over. Cracking the top 5, we've got humanity's oldest and maybe least favorite travel buddies, rats and mice. You know, in our cities, they're a pain. But when they hitch a ride to an isolated island, a place with a really fragile ecosystem, they go from nuisance to absolute catastrophe. And you can see the tragic cost of this so clearly in a place like New Zealand. See, it's a country that evolved with basically no land-based mammalian predators. The birds there never learned to deal with them. So when rodents showed up, it was a massacre. They ate eggs, they ate chicks, they ate seeds. They've driven almost half of New Zealand's unique native bird species completely to extinction. Okay, we are now entering our top 4. We're moving into the big leagues now. These are the apex invaders. Their destructive power is on a whole other level. Coming in at number 4 is a predator that belongs in the jungles of Southeast Asia, but instead it's become the undisputed king of the Florida Everglades, the Burmese python. And how did this happen? 100% because of irresponsible pet owners releasing them into the wild. The impact has been nothing short of staggering. In the areas where these pythons have taken hold, the populations of native mammals, we're talking raccoons, opossums, even bobcats, have crashed by over 90%. Let that sink in. These snakes are, quite literally, eating the Everglades empty. Our bronze medalist for destruction is the wild pig. You can find these guys all over the world, and they are the total package of terror. They're smart, they're aggressive, they're super adaptable. They're basically living, breathing bulldozers. I mean, a wild pig's whole life is just a path of destruction. They tear up the soil with their snouts, which ruins plant life. They'll eat almost anything, crops, baby animals, you name it. They foul up water sources. And to top it all off, they reproduce so incredibly fast that just trying to control their numbers is this constant losing battle. At number 2, the runner-up for the most destructive invader is the brown tree snake. And this is a chilling story of how one species getting to one vulnerable island by accident created a complete and total ecological nightmare. You can literally watch the disaster unfold in stages. The snake gets to Guam as an accidental stowaway on military cargo after World War II. It finds itself on an island with 0 natural predators, so its population just explodes into the millions. And the result? The forests of Guam fell silent. The snakes ate the birds. Almost all of them. They wiped out the majority of the island's native forest birds. Okay, let's just recap. We've had flying fish, poisonous toads, invincible rabbits, and a snake that literally silenced an entire island. So I have to ask you, what could possibly be worse than that? What's number 1? Well, the number 1 most destructive invasive animal on this planet is a creature that many of us actually know. Some of us even love them. That's right, feral cats. We're talking about the descendants of our pet cats, now living and hunting out in the wild. They are everywhere, on every single continent except Antarctica, and they are unbelievably efficient, ruthless killing machines. If you need proof, just look at this number. In Australia alone, feral cats kill more than 1 billion native animals every single year. That breaks down to over 1 million animals killed every single day. They are, without a doubt, the single greatest threat to hundreds of native species, and they've already driven multiple species to total extinction. So, when you look back at this whole list, from the carp in the Mississippi to the cats in the Australian outback, you start to see one common thread, a single thing that connects every single animal we've talked about, and that's us. Humans. Every single one of these invasions happened because of a human decision. Maybe it was a well-intentioned but failed pest control plan, or an irresponsible pet owner, or even just an accident, a stowaway on a ship. And that leaves us with a pretty sobering final thought. To deal with this, in places like Australia, conservationists are now building these huge, fenced-in safe zones just to try and save what little remains. But as this quote says, these places are really more like high-security prisons. They're built to protect the last few survivors from a world that we, unintentionally, helped create. It's just a stark reminder that our actions, even small ones, can have massive, cascading consequences we never saw coming.